Welcome to the Repugen Podcast, where we transform patient care.
Okay, that feeling, right. When you see a negative review pop up online, it's more than just hurt feelings, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It hits your practice's reputation, how trustworthy you seem to potential new patients.
Exactly. So today, we're going to dig into the playbook, really, for handling those reviews well, and maybe most importantly, compliantly.
Yeah, compliantly is the key word there. And for this deep dive, we're pulling insights straight from our own guide here at Repugen. It's specifically designed to help navigate this sensitive area while staying completely above board with compliance.
Right. So our goal today, unpack the main strategies, the requirements, all straight from our guide. We want to give you a really clear roadmap for responding the right way. Let's get into it.
Okay, so where do you even start? A negative review lands. Our guide lays out some foundational things. It's not just damage control. Mm-hmm. It's about showing you're committed to patients, committed to getting better, really, for everyone who reads that review.
So what are those first steps? The absolute must-dos according to the guide.
Okay, first off, speed. Respond fast, as quick as you can.
Right.
Then, and this one feels weird sometimes when you're feeling defensive, thank the patient. Thank them for leaving the review.
Thank them for being critical. That feels a bit backwards. Why does the guide push that so hard?
It's what we call strategic empathy. It shows you value feedback, even the negative kind. It helps kind of disarm the reviewer a bit.
Okay.
And it, maybe even more importantly, tells other people reading prospective patients, hey, this practice listens. They take concerns seriously.
Okay. That makes sense. What comes after thanking them?
Then you express sympathy, apologize for their bad experience.
Right. Acknowledge how they feel, but maybe not necessarily agree with all the specifics they mentioned.
Exactly. And this is where, like you said, it gets really crucial, according to the guide. You need to address their concerns, and this is huge, without disclosing any protected health information. PHI.
No PHI. Got it.
Precisely. Which leads right into the next non-negotiable step. Always ask them to take the conversation offline.
Offline? Why is that so critical?
Well, two big reasons. Compliance, first off.
Yeah.
You can't discuss specifics publicly. And second, it's the only way to really understand their issue without airing private details.
Makes sense. And sort of underlying all of this, the guide talks about keeping your cool, right? Staying professional.
Oh, absolutely essential. No matter how off base or frustrating the review feels, stay professional.
Okay, that brings us to that core requirement you mentioned. Compliant. We keep saying that. Why is responding in a HIPAA-compliant way just so incredibly critical, even if the patient sort of started the public discussion?
Yeah, this is the absolute line in the sand. You cannot cross it. A patient can share their experience online, sure. That's their right. Mm-hmm. But that does not give the practice the right to confirm they're a patient or reveal anything about their health, their treatment, even just the fact they visited your office. Not a public reply.
So even if they name themselves and describe their visit, you can't confirm it publicly?
Nope. Think of it like a bank. If a customer complains online about their account, the bank can't just jump in and say, yes, Mr. Smith, we see your account. They can't confirm he's a customer or discuss details publicly.
Okay.
Your public response is totally separate. It's bound by HIPAA. Getting this wrong isn't just a little mistake. It can mean serious legal trouble, fines, and it just destroys patient trust.
Wow. Okay. So the public response is basically a signal like, we hear you, let's talk privately.
That's a perfect way to put it. It signals that to the reviewer, and just as importantly to everyone else reading. It shows you handle things responsibly and privately.
Okay, so the guide gives us the rules, but it also gives us playbooks for different types of reviews, right?
Yeah.
Examples.
So yeah, exactly. It's not just theory. It shows how to apply those core ideas. Thank, apologize, invite offline, stay compliant, but with, slight tweaks depending on the review's tone.
What kinds of reviews does it cover? Any common ones?
Oh yeah. It breaks down several common types. Let's start with what the guide calls the questionable review.
The ones that seem maybe a little dramatic, over the top. The guide says patients are often just venting, right? Expressing intense frustration.
Exactly. They're letting off steam. For those, the guide says, acknowledge that frustration. Assure them you take feedback super seriously. Promise to look into it internally. Reiterate you want patients to have a good experience. And, stay cool.
It gives a pretty wild example, doesn't it? A parent claiming a dentist told their crying kid to shut up.
That's got to be tough to see online.
It's really tough. But the example response in the guide, it's like, a masterclass in hitting the right notes without confirming anything.
What does it say?
Something like, "Hi, Jackie. Thank you for reaching out. I'm sorry to hear about your appointment. We take our patient feedback very seriously, so I'd like to learn more about your experience. Please contact me at phone number at your convenience."
Okay, so it says sorry about her experience, doesn't confirm the shut up thing, doesn't even confirm she had an appointment, really. Just focuses on taking feedback and moving offline.
Exactly. Hits all the key points, compliant and constructive. Okay, so that covers the really emotional ones. What about the aggressive review? When patients are really angry, maybe expectations weren't met.
Yeah, those can get personal. The guide stresses leading with sympathy and politeness. Always politeness. How you respond here really shows prospective patients how you handle conflict. It's a public test, in a way.
The example review for that one is pretty harsh. Patient calling the doctor terrible, saying they were rushed, questions dismissed, doctor was snobby. Ouch.
Right. And for that, the guide's example response is, again, firm but polite. Something like, "Hi, Jared. I'm sorry that you had an unpleasant experience, but I want to thank you for leaving a review. Please give me a call at phone number as I'd like to learn more so that we can improve our patient experience."
Same pattern again. "Sorry for their experience. Thank you for feedback. Focus on improvement. Let's talk offline."
You got it. Consistent and safe.
Okay, what about the opposite? Reviews that are super short and don't give you much to work with? The brief and uninformative ones, like just, wow, this place was just plain horrible.
Yeah, those are tricky because you don't know why they thought it was horrible, the guide says. Still apologize generally for their experience. State your commitment to providing a good experience, and then directly ask them to call you for more details so you can figure out what went wrong and fix it internally.
So the example response for that one might be
Like, "Hi, Maggie. Thanks for your review. I'm sorry to hear your experience did not meet your expectations. We strive to make every patient's visit as comfortable as possible. Please give me a call at phone number so we can learn from your experience."
short, sorry, reinforces your values, asks for the call. Makes sense.
Then there's another category. Sometimes the review itself isn't the issue. It's just aimed at the wrong target. The last patient review.
Ah, yes. Someone reviewing the wrong practice. Happens surprisingly often, right?
It really does. Someone means to review, I don't know, the optometrist down the block, but clicks on your pediatric practice link instead.
So what does the guide say to do there?
Gently point it out. Say something like, "Are you sure this was meant for us?" Maybe help steer them right if you can. And crucially, clarify for anyone else reading that this probably isn't about your practice.
The guide has an example for this too, right? Someone complaining about eye care stuff but left the review for a pediatric practice.
Yep. And Alex Taylor talking about optometry things, then mentioning leaving to go to a pediatric practice.
Convenient. So the example response is something like,
"Hi, Alex. Was this review meant for us? As we are a pediatric practice, we think you might have us confused with another place. Please contact me at phone number so we can sort this out." Helpful, clears it up publicly, offers a private follow-up.
Okay, one more type the guide mentions. The picky patient. Complaints about things that might seem small.
Right, like the waiting room chairs aren't comfy or the office feels small, or maybe too many kids in the waiting room at a kid's practice.
Huh. Yeah, things that seem minor to the practice maybe, but genuinely annoyed that specific patient. What's the approach there?
Acknowledge their specific points, show you read it carefully. State that you're always trying to improve all aspects of the practice. And, you guessed it,
Ask them to call you offline to learn more.
bingo. The example review mentioned office size, front desk look, too many kids.
And the response.
Similar pattern. "Hi, James. Thanks for the review. We're constantly trying to improve all aspects of our practice to make every patient's experience the best it can be. I'd love to learn more from you about this, so please contact me at phone number." Validates their feeling without necessarily agreeing the chairs are objectively terrible, and takes it private.
Beyond just responding, is there anything else the guide suggests? Like a pro tip?
Yes. There's a good pro tip. Don't forget, you can flag or report the review to the platform itself. Google, Yelp, whatever.
Ah, right, if it violates the rules.
Exactly. Like if it's spam, hate speech, clearly not a real patient experience, the review site might take it down. But the guide stresses you should probably still respond first unless it's obvious spam.
Why respond first?
Because flagging can take time, and you want your professional caring response visible right away while the platform reviews the flag.
Got it. So kind of wrapping this section up, it sounds like no matter the type of review, questionable, angry, vague, mistaken, bicky, the core strategy from the guide is pretty consistent.
It really is. Acknowledge, apologize for their experience,
Yeah.
keep it HIPAA compliant, absolutely no PHI. And always steer the detailed chat offline.
So what does all this mean for you listening, for your practice? This deep dive into our Repugian guide, hopefully, gives you a clear, compliant, and really strategic way to handle online reviews. It's tricky, but so important.
Yeah, handling negative reviews isn't just about fixing one bad comment. It's a thoughtful, professional, HIPAA-aware approach. It's about showing everyone, especially potential patients, that you're responsive, you care, you're committed to the patient experience, and you protect privacy like Fort Knox.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave you with, something to chew on. Given how vital it is to both show you care publicly and strictly protect patient specifics under HIPAA, how do practices get really good at communicating genuine empathy and a real commitment to solving problems in that short public reply, while revealing absolutely nothing specific about the patient or their visit? It's a real balancing act, isn't it?
Thanks for listening to the Repugian Podcast, your path to better healthcare.